name is Wayne Fromm. I'm an inventor. I started with toys predominantly, a lot of Disney toys based on their movies, Beauty and the Beast, Little Mermaid, Aladdin. It kept growing from there. And eventually I came up with the idea for what finally became known as the selfie stick. So most people are familiar with that product.
Yes, for sure.
Claire. Est-ce que tu peux lui demander, alors, d'où vient cet esprit de création, d'inventivité? Depuis tout petit, il adore inventer des choses. D'où ça vient cette passion?
Steven said that you have a lot of creativity, and he was wondering, did you have so much creativity since you were a child, or did you develop it?
Yes, I did. And I have a good memory, so I do remember all of this as well. I loved playing with toys. I loved taking things apart to understand them. I would take a clock apart and try to put it together. My parents weren't happy because I didn't always succeed. And even when I was younger, I built a way to turn the volume up on my television. This was before, standard remote controls were available. I was always trying to solve problems and make life easier. And then when I was a little older, I was about 10 years old, I became very interested in magic. And I studied magic, and I used to perform magic at children's birthday parties. I wasn't even that much older than them. I might have been 10 or 11, and they were 4 and 5, but it was a good rapport. So I've always been inspired by children. I love manifesting my own creativity and bringing the creativity out in children.
Excellent.
Donc évidemment, il est connu pour avoir inventé la perche à selfie, mais il a aussi inventé des jouets avec Disney. Est-ce que tu peux lui dire en gros comment s'est passée la rencontre avec Disney?
Steven said that you are very famous for the selfie stick, and at the same time you invented different things, and among them you invented some elements with Disney. Can you tell us more about it?
Yes, sure. I was actually in New York City. I had come up with an idea for a greeting card, just a card that you give to somebody on their birthday, or just congratulate them for a baby being born, etc. And this was the first time that I had gone to this particular show. It was called the Stationery Show at the Javits Center in New York. And I had a little bit of a break from my booth, and I was walking around, and I started seeing all sorts of things that made me, I was fascinated. And one of them was a little bubble pendant. It was a little necklace that people were wearing around their neck, and they would blow tiny bubbles, but it was geared for an adult. It was made out of glass, and it was to help people stop cigarette smoking. It was a diversion. It was a distraction. So I started to talk to the people that had developed it, and I said, this would be ideal for children, but not in glass, and it would have to appeal to children and be safe. And this is where I then had the idea of saying, well, if this was a Disney product, maybe Mickey Mouse or whatever, then children would love to play with this. So I had never experienced having a relationship in any way with Disney, and I wasn't even in the toy industry. It was just an idea that I had to bring this greeting card, to New York, because my main industry was video games. I was in the video game industry, and I called Disney, and basically they wouldn't talk to me because I didn't have an established company. I didn't have distribution. I didn't have marketing. They want people with substance. And this was, I was just basically nobody at that point in that area. So I persevered though, and I kept, working on some ideas and prototypes, and I was able to make it, get through to somebody in California at Disney, and they were going to take the meeting with me, and then they canceled at the last minute. I had booked my airfare, and I was all excited, ready to go. And she said, "You know what? You just don't have what we want to license, to be part of our company." So instead of canceling my trip, I gave it more thought, and I realized that they had just opened up Disney stores. They have the Disney parks that have gift stores inside of them, and they also had Disney stores all over the world. So I reached out and I got a hold of somebody that worked at the Disney stores, and they said, "Sure, we'd love to look at what you've got." So I had created a Little Mermaid bubble pendant, because Little Mermaid lives under the sea part of the time as a mermaid, and she would blow bubbles. So I thought there's a good connection to Little Mermaid and the bubble pendants. So I showed it to the buyer. I did fly out, met with her. She was very nice. And she ordered, she said, I'll take 10,000 of them. And then I had to now figure out how to make them because I had no experience at all in manufacturing. And I reached out to people I knew, and I was, I got through people in Taiwan and Hong Kong and all over the place, and China, and we finally got it going. And then 10,000 became 20,000, and that became 100,000, then 500,000, then 1,000,000. And then it became Beauty and the Beast bubble pennants, Mickey Mouse bubble pennants, Cinderella bubble pennants. It just kept growing. And then the same buyer said, we're working on a new movie, a new cartoon and animation called Beauty and the Beast. And she said, here's a script. If you can come up with some new ideas for it for the toys. And I said, sure. And I read the script, and there was a mirror in there. So that was the development of the toy that became the Beauty and the Beast magic mirror, where the child would push a button on the handle and the characters would light up. It's on my website, frommworks.com. And that became the start of my relationship with Disney. And then other people in the toy industry heard about me, reached out to me and said, hey, can you design things for Power Rangers and Crayola? And it just grew from there.
Excellent.
Histoire incroyable, hein?
Mhm.
Moi, ce qui me fascine dans son invention de perche à selfie, ça fait des heureux et en même temps, c'est dans certains endroits, c'est interdit. Qu'est-ce qu'il en pense du côté interdit? Parce qu'on dit que c'est un objet dangereux. C'est quoi son avis dessus?
So Steven said that the selfie stick was a great invention and helps a lot of people. At the same time, in some places, it can be considered as a dangerous weapon. And Steven would like to know, how do you feel about it, about that this selfie stick can be considered as dangerous?
Yes, of course. That's a good question. So it has many advantages. I developed it originally because I was traveling with my young daughter, and we would always have to pass our camera device to strangers, or set it up on, a ledge or a garbage can or something to jump into the picture. And then strangers could walk between the camera and me, and, we'd have to take the picture over again, etc. So, that led me to come up with the concept of something that could hold your smartphone or your camera or whatever it was. As far as the danger goes, we cannot legislate common sense. So almost anything can be dangerous in the world. The smartphone can be dangerous if we throw it at people as well, but we don't throw it at people. So if people are logical, rational, considerate, then they're not going to extend a selfie stick at a museum and damage, a Michelangelo statue. But if they don't have common sense, and, unfortunately not everybody does, then we have to be careful and have maybe strangers say, hey, that's not a good idea, maybe compact it now, et cetera, et cetera. So we do have to rely on the logic of society.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Alors, question un peu plus philosophique, je vais lui poser. Quelle trace, quel héritage, lui, aimerait-il laisser sur cette terre?
So it's a more philosophical question for you. What kind of heritage do you like to offer to the world?
As far as a legacy, I'm working on something today, actually, something brand new. And I hope that will be my legacy to the world. And it's a way to encourage children to have healthier options when they eat, and to make it fun for them to prepare these items and ingredients when they eat. So that I hope is my legacy. And I'm working with the people that created Snoopy. I don't know if you're familiar with the cartoon character. So I can't give all the details just yet, but I'm very excited about this. And I do feel that this new product has the potential to be around for 40 more years. That, I hope, is my legacy.
Excellent. Alors moi, j'aime bien parler des gens de l'ombre. Il en fait partie aussi. C'est des gens qui me fascinent, qui font des choses pour nous, pour la société, qui font des choses, je trouve, assez utiles. Lui, quelles sont les personnes qui lui ont tendu la main, qui lui ont dit, tiens, Wayne, je crois en toi?
Very good question. So, Stephen likes to talk about the people in the shadow. So the people that were very helpful, but not very well known. And he would like to ask you, who did help you in the shadow and matter a lot to you, but they are not very well known?
That's a great question as well. I have somebody in my life that I consider to be my muse, brings out my creativity. I rely on her opinions. I trust her. She has very good instinct. I've known her for many years, and her name is Marnie Ugar, and she's just been extremely supportive and helpful throughout my whole career of inventing. I rely on her opinion. We could hire professionals and academics and get all sorts of feedback, but when I tell Marnie an idea, if she jumps just a little bit off the ground, I know it's not so good, but if she jumps really high, I know it's a good idea. So I would say that, plus my own daughter as well, of course, Sage. She's been extremely supportive. In her younger years, I would rely on her to feedback, and with her friends, what did they think of these products? So those are the two main people. And of course, in my life, my mother's been very supportive as well. So these are the people closest to me.
May I ask what kind of relationship you have with your muse? Is that a friend, your wife? Is that
she used to work with me and for me years back when I was in the video game industry. Then we dated for many years. We eventually became engaged, but we never married. So we've stayed in touch as friends for quite some time. It's a very interesting dynamic, very interesting relationship.
Wow.
Yeah. Good question.
Thanks for the answer.
Alors, question un peu plus drôle. Quelle invention, lui, il aurait aimé inventer?
Another kind of question. What kind of invention would you like to have invented but didn't?
I'm always in awe of GPS. GPS to me is brilliant. It has changed the world. Without it, we would not have all of the conveniences that we have. There used to be people in cars with maps fighting with each other. They can't see. They're getting lost on the highway, dangerous. We now have food delivery apps. We have Amazon delivery. Like, everything is just so efficient that I wish I was able to have said that I was in some way a contributor to GPS. I think it's absolutely brilliant.
Moi, ça va être ma dernière question. Après, je te laisserai te poser des questions, Dao. Alors, est-ce qu'il y a un message pour les jeunes Français, les jeunes qui ne croient pas assez en eux, pour aller au bout de leurs rêves?
So it will be the last question from Stephen for today. He would like to speak to the young French viewers. Do you have a message for them, for the young people who don't really believe in their dream, but kind of have a dream?
Yes, to sum it up, I know that with the younger generations, there is somewhat of a dystopian belief that things are just going downhill, whether it be climate change and, things are unfair and interest rates are high and they can't afford housing. I do believe strongly, and I had a great uncle. He was my father's uncle. And he would tell me, no matter what, when things get, if they're difficult in life, just have a mantra, just keep repeating to yourself, be strong, but also, to add to that, believe in your ideas. But if you feel that you're unrealistic, then also listen to other people, because I don't want people in their life to devote too much time and money and energy into something that maybe just can't happen. There are in patents, for example, you can't get a patent for perpetual energy. You know, if something has to be reasonable, it can be creative. You can, you know, include all of your fantasy and your passion. And once you find that item, whatever it is, just go with it. Don't listen to the naysayers. There's going to always be people that say, well, I don't think it's going to work. I don't think, but you know, use your instinct, rely on your instinct, but make sure your instincts are good and study. It's like history. We don't want to repeat the past mistakes. So you have to study what else existed. Is there anything similar to what you're doing? What were the pitfalls? Is it still around? Can you improve upon it? You know, and listen to people, even with the Disney products. And I know it's a long interview at this point, but I used to go to the people that worked at the Disney parks and the stores, not the experts, but the people that sold the products and dealt with the families, dealt with the grandparents and the parents. And they're the ones that really know their audience. They know what's going on, not always the executives. I don't know if you saw the Barbie movie, but you know, the people at the top of Mattel were out of touch with what was going on in the real world at times. So I wanted to go right down to the basics. So whatever idea somebody has, talk to people about it, people that are dealing with, you know, with other people that, you know, that will have that kind of more intimate knowledge. And they don't even realize that their information is so valuable, but it is. I had shown early versions of the Magic Mirror to just people that worked at the Disney stores. They were teenagers, some of them. It was just a part-time job. And I got so much valuable feedback from them. It was incredible. So that's it in a nutshell.
Thank you. Thank you.
Vas-y, à toi, Dao.
Steven say that I have some bonus question for you. I'm authorized to ask you some questions, personal questions. Let's try. It was very interesting what you said to the young people. And there's another part of the story. It's when it's low, when you are in the dark, when it's difficult. And I'm wondering, what did you do in the past when you were hitting the dark moment of your life, the difficult one? What did you do? What did people do for you?
That's an excellent question. I've created a lifestyle that addresses that every day. I exercise a lot. I go to yoga every single day. I'm in touch with my friends and family every single day. I get together in person with my friends. I'm very active as far as social, joyful things like playing tennis, going for walks, simple things, just not taking anything for granted at all, ever. I don't take my friendships for granted. I don't take my health for granted. And I know that people, you know, if you ask the average person, oh, if you're going to cross the road, can you know, how do you know that you're going to see if a car is coming? And people will say, well, that's a pretty simple question. I can see a car coming. I just, you know, I won't get hit. 2 months ago, I had an accident because I drum. I'm a drummer as a hobby, and a piece of wood fell into my left eye. It hit my left eye. And for the last 2 months, I had no vision in my left eye. I don't take my vision for granted anymore. I've had it fixed now. I can see again, but for 2 months I couldn't. So people, even in the darkest times, you have to be strong, be stoic, and be optimistic. And I didn't give up on my eye. I went to every specialist and no one knew what happened. They couldn't figure out how to fix it. And I just devoted all of my time and energy to finding out what might solve this problem using artificial intelligence and just research. So you have to be self-motivated, and if you're not self-motivated, at least have a muse or somebody that can prop you up, because of course in life we have ups and downs all the time. We're human, we're not robots. And you know, that's my formula, plus eating well. I try to eat very healthy. So it's like a car. You're not going to give a car bad gas, and you're not going to give your pet dog bad food. We're more careful with our cars and our pets than we are with our own bodies, but this is what gives us our fuel, fuels our brain as well. So that's, you know, that's it. Friends, family, our own health, eating well, exercising, staying optimistic, being strong. Just say that to yourself. Be strong, be strong. It gets you out of a lot of ruts.
Excellent. Thank you. So, another question. If I may ask, What is the next invention you are working on currently?
Well, I hinted at it, you know, this Snoopy toy. It's not ready yet for public disclosure, but it's. I'll circle back to you on that. The world will know about it, hopefully by next year at this time, because next year is the 75th anniversary of the Peanut Gang, Charlie Brown, Lucy, Snoopy. So my new product is going to launch during the 75th celebration. So it's, as I said, intimated to, it's a way for children to be empowered, to have fun, and to make healthy, nutritional food to intake.
Yes. All good for me. Thank
Ah,
you.
c'est bon pour toi? Attends, peut-être une dernière question là pour Mister. S'il n'aurait pas inventé tout ce qu'il fait, quelle vie il aurait aimé avoir?
Very good question. I'm also curious about the answer. If you didn't pursue a life of inventions, what would you have done?
I wanted to be a psychiatrist.
Oh,
Yes, to help people. I have a degree in psychology. I also studied economics, commerce, and finance, but my real personal passion is to understand the way my mind thinks and the way other people think. And I've read books on creativity. I read almost everything I can on psychology. I've tried to understand creativity from whether it be an inventor or a scientist, or, you know, there's just so many elements to it. I would love to help people. I love trying to solve problems. Trying to make people's lives better. So yes, psychiatry as a psychologist, a medical doctor, that would have been my, if I had a chat, you know, an alter universe, you know, the universe. This is what I would do. I'd be an inventor and a psychiatrist.
multiverse.
Yeah, the multiverse. Yeah, the multiverse, exactly. Yes.
Ah ouais, alors, je l'embête encore, hein. Ça, c'est la dernière question. Elle est traditionnelle, celle-ci. Quelle personne, j'imagine la liste est grande, mais quelles sont les personnes qu'il aimerait remercier, qui ont fait de lui ce qu'il est?
So it's a common question that Stephen like to ask. It's who are the people you would like to thank that helps you become who you are today?
People I know or people I've never met that I am inspired by? I'm just asking for clarification.
Ce qu'il a formé, ce qu'il est lui,
Des
personnellement.
personnes existantes, des inspirations,
Oui.
des personnes
Existantes
Les deux?
et inspirations, les deux.
Okay, both.
Both. Well, when I was in school as a student, I was fascinated by Leonardo da Vinci. His mind, his creativity, his curiosity. And this is another thing I should have mentioned for children: curiosity. You know, never lose that curiosity. That is so important. So Da Vinci, my own parents. I have a favorite uncle that lives in the United States. He was a great inspiration to me. I have a cousin that was trying out for the Olympics years back. He taught me gymnastics and how to walk on my hands. So there's been just a very diverse group of people. As far as famous people, I've always been inspired by artists, mainly artists, musicians, Disney, Walt Disney as a person, his accomplishments. It's hard to fathom that, you know, one person, while he worked with his brother, could have created such an impact on people's lives, brought them so much joy, you know, with his movies and theme parks. It was his dreams that he made reality, and that's to me, there's nothing better than that. You know, it's if you can have a dream and manifest it. You know, I've often thought about this because I have a lot of friends that are very, very successful financially. And I've asked them the same question, like, in life, if you have everything you want, you have your car, your boat, your house, your love life is intact, you have great family, what else would continue to motivate you? And there's no right answer or no wrong answer, but some people might say, well, I'll do charity work or I'll, garden, whatever it is. For me, it's you'll manifest your creativity. So whether it's just becoming a painter or a sculptor or an inventor or whatever it is, it's your own answer. It's manifest your own creativity. Put it into action.
Super. Bah, en tout cas, remercie-le pour ce moment qu'on a passé ensemble et pour le partage. Et comme je dis toujours, l'aventure continue. Tu peux lui dire.
So, it was a great interview. Thank you very much for your questions, for your answers, sorry, from both Stephen and I. And like he liked to say, and the adventures goes on.
Yes, yes.
Thank you,
Merci
Wayne.
beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much.
Au revoir.
Au revoir, Wayne.
Okay.